The meeting room on the space station was cold and quiet. Commander Zexthara looked at the stone tablet on the metal table. The writing on it was old, very old. Her 6 arms moved as she studied the strange marks carved into the dark rock. "This came from the dead world of Kethmer," said Dr. Veltar, the teen's expert on old languages. His blue skin had gray spots that showed his age. "Our mining crews found it deep underground. The writing talks about something called the Enduring." Elena Rodriguez sat at the far end of the table. She was the only human in the room. The other 12 beings were from different worlds across the galaxy. She felt small next to them, but she was good at her job. She studied old things, old places, old stories. "What does it say exactly?" Elena asked. She leaned forward to get a better. "Look at the tablet." Dr. Veltar's voice was deep and slow. "It speaks of the builders. They were a race that lived here long ago. The tablet says they made a weapon that could learn and grow stronger." Commander Zexthara's main eyes focused on Elena. "The Galactic Council wants us to find this weapon. The galaxy faces new threats from outside our borders. Unknown ships have been seen at the edge of our space. They attack and then disappear." Elena nodded. She had heard the reports. Strange vessels that moved in ways that made no sense. They would attack a colony world, destroy everything, and vanish before help could arrive. The Council was scared. "The tablet gives us a map," Dr. Veltar continued. He touched a section of the stone. "Star positions are marked here. If we follow them, we should find where the builders hid their weapon." Jake Morrison was fixing his coffee maker when the call came in. He was the captain of the research ship Aurora. His crew was small but good. They had been exploring the outer rim for 3 years, looking for new worlds and old secrets. "Captain Morrison," the voice came through his communicator. "This is Admiral Davis. We have a mission for you." Jake put down his coffee cup. When Admiral Davis called, it was always important. "What do you need, sir?" "You and your crew are being assigned to a joint mission with the Galactic Council. They're looking for something old and dangerous. They want human representation on the team." Jake frowned. The Galactic Council rarely worked with humans. Most alien races thought humans were too young, too wild. Earth had only joined the galactic community 50 years ago. "What are they looking for?" Jake asked. "Some kind of ancient weapon. The details are classified. You'll get a full briefing when you meet the expedition fleet at Nexus Station." The Aurora was a good ship. Not the biggest or the fastest, but reliable. Jake's crew knew their jobs well. Ben Carter was their language expert. Lisa Park handled security. Sam Wright was the best navigator Jake had ever worked with. "So we're treasure hunters now?" Lisa asked when Jake told them about the mission. She was cleaning her plasma rifle, something she did when she was thinking. "Looks that way," Jake replied. "But this treasure might be dangerous. The Council doesn't ask for help unless they really need it." Sam was already plotting their course to Nexus Station. 3 days travel time, he said. "But Captain, I've been looking at the star charts. The area they want to search is marked as restricted space." "Restricted by who?" Jake asked. "That's the strange part," Sam said. "The restrictions are old. Really old. From before any of the current galactic governments existed." Elena studied the tablet for hours after the meeting ended. Something about the symbols bothered her. They looked familiar, but she could not figure out why. She had seen thousands of alien languages in her work, but these marks were different. She used the computer to compare the symbols with every known writing system. Nothing matched exactly, but there were similarities. Small things that made her think of cave paintings from Earth. Old drawings made by humans, thousands of years ago. The expedition fleet was huge. 20 ships from different worlds each one, carrying scientists, soldiers, and equipment. Elena's transport ship docked with the main command vessel. The hallways were wide to fit all the different alien body types. Commander Zexthara called another meeting. This time, all the team leaders were there. Elena counted beings from 15 different worlds. She was still the only human. We begin. Our search tomorrow, the commander said. Dr. Veltar has identified 7 star systems that match the map on the tablet. We will visit each one and look for clues. Dr. Yithara, a tall being with crystal skin, raised one of her 4 hands. What if this weapon is still active? What if the builders left guards or traps? We will be careful, Commander Zexthara replied. But we must find this weapon before our enemies do. The unknown ships have attacked 3 more colonies this week. We are running out of time. Elena looked at the star map displayed on the big screen. The 7 systems formed a rough circle around empty space. In the center of that circle was a small yellow star. The computer labeled it as Sol 3, an unremarkable system with 1 inhabited world. She knew that system well. It was her home. The fleet jumped to hyperspace the next morning. Elena watched the stars stretch into lines through her cabin window. She could not shake the feeling that they were making a terrible mistake. The symbols on the tablet kept bothering her. They reminded her of something important. As the ships traveled toward their first destination, Elena made notes in her journal. She wrote down every detail she could remember about the tablet. She drew pictures of the symbols and tried to understand what they meant. Late that night, she realized why the symbols looked familiar. They were not just like human cave paintings. They were the same symbols, the exact same ones that humans had carved into rocks thousands of years ago on Earth. Elena stared at her notes. If she was right, then the builders were not some mysterious alien race. The builders had been human. And if humans had made this ancient weapon, then the galaxy was looking for something that might be more dangerous than anyone realized. The first world they visited was dead. Nothing lived there anymore. The oceans had dried up long ago, leaving only empty basins filled with salt and dust. Cities that once held millions of people were now just broken stones scattered across the Chu. Empty land. Ben Carter walked through the ruins with his translation device. He was good with languages, better than most aliens even. His job was to find writing, signs, anything that could tell them what happened here. Captain Morrison. Ben's voice came through the communicator. You need to see this. Jake met him at what used to be the center of the largest city. Ben was standing in front of a huge wall covered in symbols. The wall was the only thing still. Standing after all these years, what does it say? Jake asked. Ben's face was pale. It's a warning. Written in the old Kethmorian language, it says the same thing over and over again. Do not wake the enduring. Do not seek the weapon that learns. Lisa. Park was checking the area for dangers. Her scanners showed no life, no energy sources, nothing that could hurt them. But she felt nervous anyway. Something about this place made her skin crawl. How long has this world been dead? She asked Elena, who was taking pictures of the wall. Elena looked at her readings. The dating shows this happened about 4,000 years ago, maybe longer. What could kill an entire planet like this? Lisa asked. Elena did not answer. She was thinking about the symbols on the wall. They were the same style as the ones on the tablet. The same style as the cave paintings on Earth. Dr. Veltar found more tablets buried under the collapsed buildings. Each one told part of the same story. The Kethmorians had been a peaceful people. They explored space and made friends with other races. Then something came from the dark between the stars. They called it the Silent Death, Dr. Veltar explained. To the team that night, it came without warning. No ships, no armies, just death that spread from city to city. Commander Zexthara listened with growing worry. Did they say what it looked like? How it moved? No details, Dr. Veltar replied. Only that it learned from each attack. It got smarter and more dangerous every time they tried to fight it. The second world was worse. The planet had been cracked in half. One piece still orbited the star, but the other half was gone, turned into asteroids that floated in space like a graveyard. Sam Wright guided the Aurora through the asteroid field. His hands were steady on the controls, but Jake could see he was worried. Sam had been through a lot of dangerous places, but this was different. Captain, Sam said quietly, I've been looking at the scan data. This planet was not destroyed by weapons. What do you mean? Jake asked. Weapons leave certain patterns. Blast marks, radiation, metal fragments. This looks like the planet was taken apart piece by piece. Like someone was mining it, but they took everything. Elena studied the readings from her science station. Sam was right. The planet had been carefully dismantled. Someone had wanted the raw materials, all of them. Who would need that much metal and rock? She wondered out loud. Ben was translating signals they found in the asteroid field. Old radio. Messages from when the planet was still whole. The messages told the same story as the first world. Peaceful people living normal lives. Then something came from space. The last message is strange, Ben told Elena. It's not a distress call. It's almost like they were talking to someone. Someone they knew. What did they say? Elena asked Ben. Read from his notes. Please, we understand now. We will not bother you again. We will stay in our own space. Just let our children live. Elena felt cold. The message sounded like someone begging for mercy. But who were they talking to? The third world had been turned into glass. The entire surface was smooth and black, like someone had melted it and let it cool. Nothing could live there now. The atmosphere was gone, burned away long ago. Lisa led a team down to the surface. They wore full protective suits because the ground was still radioactive. The glass crunched under their boots as they walked. This was done by energy weapons, Lisa reported. But the power level needed would be enormous. More than any current galactic fleet could produce. Dr. Euthara took samples of the glass. Her crystal skin let her see energy patterns that others could not. The attack came from orbit, she said, but the weapon fire was not random. Look at these patterns. Elena looked where Dr. Euthara pointed. The glass had different colors in some places. When she mapped them out, they formed shapes. Geometric patterns that looked almost like art. Someone was sending a message, Elena realized. The destruction was deliberate, but they were also trying to communicate something. What kind of message? Commander Zexthara asked. Elena studied the patterns more closely. They reminded her of something, but she could not place what. Then it hit her. The patterns were similar to crop circles that had appeared on Earth hundreds of years ago. Simple geometric shapes that humans had made in fields of grain. On the fourth world, they found survivors. Not the original people who had lived there, but their descendants. A small group that had hidden in deep caves when the destruction came. The survivors were afraid when the expedition ships arrived. They tried to hide, but Ben was able to talk to them using an old form of their language. They remembered the stories. Ben told Elena after speaking with the eldest survivor. Their ancestors called it the Learning Dark, something that came from space and studied them before attacking. Did they say what it looked like? Elena asked. Ben shook his head. They say it had no form. It could look like anything it wanted. Sometimes it appeared as their own people, sometimes as their gods. But always it was learning. The old survivor, a female with gray fur and large eyes, spoke to Ben for a long time. She kept pointing at the star charts that Ben showed her. She says her people tried to make peace with it, Ben translated. They offered it everything they had. Technology, art, even their children as servants. But it was not interested in ruling them. Then what did it want? Elena asked. She says it wanted them to forget, to stop exploring space, to stay on their world and never leave. Elena felt a chill run down her spine. What happened to the ones who agreed? Ben asked the old female. Her answer made him pale. She says those people lived. Their descendants are still alive on the other side of this world, but they have forgotten everything about space travel. They live like primitives now, afraid to even look at the stars. That night, Elena could not sleep. She kept thinking about the stories they had heard. A force that came from space and made civilizations choose between destruction and isolation. It reminded her of something from Earth's history. She opened her personal files and looked at old human records. Stories of gods who came from the sky and demanded worship. Tales of great floods and fires that destroyed cities when people became too proud or too curious. The similarities were too strong to ignore. The timeline matched perfectly. Every story of divine punishment in human mythology corresponded to the destruction of a galactic civilization. Elena realized with growing horror that the expedition was not looking for an ancient weapon built by some mysterious race. They were following the trail of something that had shaped human development for thousands of years, something that might still be active. The fifth world showed signs of a different kind of destruction. The cities were intact, but empty. No bodies, no signs of battle, just empty buildings under an alien sky. Where did everyone go? Lisa asked as they explored the vacant streets. Ben found the answer in the central library. Books and data files. That told the story of an entire civilization that had simply vanished overnight. They left voluntarily, Ben reported. The records show they received a message. Instructions to abandon their world and scatter across the galaxy. They were told never to gather in large numbers again. Who sent the message? Commander Zexthara demanded. Ben looked at Elena before answering. The message was signed with a symbol, the same symbol that appears on all the tablets we have found. Elena looked at the symbol Ben showed her. It was simple, just a few lines carved in stone. But she recognized it immediately. It was the same symbol that appeared in cave paintings all over Earth, the symbol that early humans had used to represent their gods. The star charts led them to a small yellow star on the edge of known space. Sam Wright checked the navigation computer 3 times to make sure they were in the right place. According to galactic records, this was Sol 3, a primitive system with one inhabited world. Something's wrong, Sam said as the fleet dropped out of hyperspace. The sensors are picking up thousands of energy signatures. Jake looked at the display screen. The space around the third planet was full of activity. Ships moved between large space stations. Mining operations worked on asteroids. Construction projects that looked bigger than anything the galaxy had ever built. That's not a primitive world, Lisa said. She was already checking her weapon systems. Commander Zexthara's voice came over the communication system. All ships hold position. We are receiving a transmission. The main screen lit up with the image of a human male in a military uniform. He had gray hair and calm eyes. Behind him, Elena could see the bridge of an advanced starship. Greetings, the human said. I am Admiral Tony Davis of the United Earth Space Force. We have been expecting you. Elena felt her heart stop. Earth was supposed to be a backwater world. Humans were supposed to be new to space travel. But the ship behind Admiral Davis looked more advanced than anything in the expedition fleet. How did you know we were coming? Commander Zexthara asked. Admiral Davis smiled. We have been watching galactic civilization for some time. When your archaeological teams started following the old star charts, we knew you would eventually find your way here. Dr. Veltar leaned forward. You know about the star charts? About the weapon we seek? We know about many things, Admiral Davis replied. Perhaps it would be better if we met in person. You are welcome to send a diplomatic party to our command. Station. Alina was chosen to be part of the diplomatic team. As their shuttle approached the human space station, she could see other human ships moving around them. The ships were sleek and powerful, built with technology she did not recognize. The space station was huge, bigger than the largest galactic. Outposts. As they docked, Elena noticed that the station's design was both familiar and alien. It looked like human engineering, but advanced far beyond what Earth was supposed to have. Admiral Davis met them at the airlock. With him were other humans in military uniforms. Elena recognized some of the technology they carried. Weapons and devices that seemed to blend human design with alien concepts. Welcome to Lunar Station Omega, Admiral Davis said. Please follow. M to the briefing room. The briefing room had a huge window that looked out at Earth. The blue and green planet hung in space like a jewel. But around it, Elena could see defensive satellites, weapon platforms, and fleets of warships. Earth is beautiful, Commander Zexthara said, but I am confused. Our records show that humans only achieved spaceflight 50 years ago. Admiral Davis gestured to chairs around the conference table. Your records are not complete. Humans have been traveling in space much longer than your civilization knows. Chris Murphy, a human engineer, brought up a holographic display. It showed the galaxy as it was thousands of years ago. Many more stars had inhabited worlds around them. 4,000 years ago, the galaxy was very different, Chris explained. Hundreds of spacefaring civilizations existed. They explored, they traded, they expanded. What happened to them? Dr. Veltar asked. Doc Mary Johnson, a human historian, answered. They discovered Earth. Elena felt sick. The pieces were falling into place. All the destroyed worlds, all the warnings carved in stone, all the civilizations that had vanished or chosen isolation. You were the weapon, she whispered. Humans were the ancient weapon that the builders created. Admiral Davis shook his head. No, Dr. Rodriguez, we were not created by the builders. We are the ones who destroyed the builders. The room fell silent. Commander Zexthara's 6 arms trembled. Dr. Valtar's blue skin turned pale gray. That is impossible, Dr. Yithara said. Humans are a young species. Your world shows no signs of advanced ancient civilization. Mary Johnson brought up new displays. Images of Earth from different time periods. We were very careful to hide our capabilities. Earth appears primitive because we wanted it to appear primitive. The displays showed the truth. Underground cities that had existed for thousands of years. Spaceports hidden beneath ice caps. Manufacturing facilities built inside mountains. Humans had been spacefaring for millennia, but they had kept it secret. Why? Elena asked. Why hide? Why let the galaxy think we were primitive? Admiral Davis looked out the window at Earth. Because we learned something important from our early encounters with galactic civilizations. They always wanted to expand. They always wanted to take more territory, more resources, more power. Chris Murphy showed them star charts that mapped galactic expansion over time. Every spacefaring civilization followed the same pattern. They would grow until they became a threat to other civilizations. Then war would begin. So you stopped. Them, Commander Zexthara said. It was not a question. We defended ourselves, Admiral Davis corrected. When galactic civilizations grew large enough to threaten Earth, we acted. We gave them a choice. Mary Johnson brought up records from the destroyed worlds they had visited. Stop expanding and live in peace, or be stopped. Most chose peace. Some did not. Elena looked at the evidence with growing horror and understanding. Every destroyed world had been given the same choice. Stop exploring. Stay in your own space. Forget about the stars. The Kethmorians, she said, the last message we found. They were begging you for mercy. They were colonizing systems too. Close to Earth, Admiral Davis explained. We warned them multiple times. They did not listen. So you killed them all, Dr. Veltar said. We stopped their expansion, Mary Johnson corrected. Some of their people survived. They live on reservation worlds now, under our protection. Lisa Park had been quiet through most of the meeting. Now she spoke up. How? How does one species control an entire galaxy? Chris Murphy smiled. It was not a pleasant expression. We adapt. It is what humans do best. Every civilization we encountered taught us something new. We learned their technology, their tactics, their weaknesses. He brought up displays showing human technology evolution. The Mirthul Empire had excellent underwater cities. We learned how to build them better. The Pyr Thanics had energy weapons. We improved them. The Kethmorians had faster-than-light travel. We made it more efficient. You stole their technology, Commander Zexthara accused. We improved it, Admiral Davis replied. And we used it to make sure the galaxy remained stable. Elena realized the full scope of what had happened. You have been managing galactic civilization for thousands of years, deciding which species could grow and which could not. We maintained balance, Mary Johnson said. Look at the galaxy now. Hundreds of peaceful civilizations, no major wars, no empires that threatened to consume everything. That did not happen by accident. The alien delegates looked at each other with fear and confusion. Everything they thought they knew about galactic history was wrong. The current threats, Commander Zexthara said slowly. The unknown ships attacking our colonies. Is that you too? Admiral Davis's expression grew serious. No, that is why we are revealing ourselves now. Something new has entered our galaxy. Something from outside. Our long period of hiding may be coming to an end. Elena understood. Humanity had been the secret guardians of the galaxy for thousands of years. They had shaped galactic civilization, controlled its growth, and maintained peace through the threat of overwhelming force. But now, a new threat had appeared, something that even humanity could not handle alone. You want our help, she said. We want to offer a partnership, Admiral Davis replied. Humanity cannot fight this new threat while also maintaining our role as hidden guardians. It is time for the galaxy to learn the truth. Chris Murphy brought up images of the unknown ships that had been attacking colonies. These ships use technology we do not recognize. They are adapting to our countermeasures faster than we can develop new ones. Elena felt a chill. They learn like you do. Yes, Admiral Davis said, which means they may be like us. Another species that has learned to adapt and improve by studying their enemies. The meeting ended with more questions than answers. The alien delegates returned to their ships in shock. Elena stayed behind to talk with the human officers. How? Many of us know? She asked Admiral Davis. About our true history? Very few. Most humans live normal lives on Earth and the colonies. They think we are a young spacefaring species just like the galactic records say. Elena looked out at Earth, her home world, which was also the secret capital of galactic civilization. What happens now? She asked. Admiral Davis smiled, and this time it was genuine. Now we see if the galaxy is ready to accept humanity as partners instead of hidden guardians. And we hope it is enough to face what is coming. Elena spent 3 days reading human historical files that had been classified for thousands of years. Each document made the truth clearer and more frightening. Humanity had not just been defending Earth. They had been actively shaping galactic civilization. The files showed detailed records of every spacefaring species that had ever existed. When they explored too far toward Earth, humans would act, sometimes with warnings, sometimes with demonstrations of force, and sometimes with complete destruction. We call it the Long Peace, Colonel Pete Jackson explained as he showed Elena. Through the archives, 4,000 years without major galactic wars. No empires that grew large enough to threaten multiple sectors. No arms races that could destabilize entire regions. Elena looked at a file marked Zephyrine Expansion Crisis -2847 BCE. It showed how humans had stopped a bird-like species from building an empire that would have controlled half the galaxy. How? Did you stop them? She asked. Pete opened the file. Images showed the Zephyrian home world during different time periods. First, it was covered with advanced cities and spaceports. Then the cities began to fail. Technology stopped working. The population started to decline. We introduced a computer virus into their networks, Pete explained. It was designed to slowly degrade their technology over several generations. They forgot how to maintain their advanced systems. Eventually, they became a pre-spaceflight civilization again. You made an entire species forget how to fly in space, Elena said, horrified. We gave them a choice first, Pete replied. They could limit their expansion voluntarily, or we would limit it for them. They chose to keep expanding. Dr. Amy Foster worked in the xenobiology section of the Human Command Center. Her job was to study alien species and find their weaknesses. She had files on every known sapient race in the galaxy. Each species has patterns, Amy explained to Elena. Biological, psychological, technological. Once you understand the patterns, you can predict their behavior. Amy showed Elena her analysis of the current galactic civilizations. Charts that tracked their population growth, territory expansion, and technological development. We maintain what we call the balance point, Amy said. Each civilization is allowed to grow until they reach a certain level of capability. Then we intervene. How do you decide what level? Elena asked. Amy pointed to a complex formula on her computer screen. It depends on the species. Aggressive races are limited more strictly. Peaceful ones are allowed to grow larger, but none are permitted to develop certain technologies. Elena looked at the restricted technology list. Faster-than-light weapons, planetary destruction devices, self-replicating artificial intelligence, technologies that could threaten the stability of the galaxy. What if they developed these things anyway? Elena asked. Amy's expression was cold. Then they become a priority target for elimination. Karen White managed communications between Earth and the secret human outposts scattered across the galaxy. Her job was to monitor alien communications and watch for signs of dangerous development. We have listening posts in every major galactic civilization, Karen explained. Hidden bases on asteroids, space stations disguised as research facilities, even agents living among alien populations. Elena was amazed by the scope of the operation. How many humans are involved in this? About 2 million, Karen replied. Most of them don't know the full scope of what they're doing. They think they work for research organizations or trading companies. Karen showed Elena a map of the galaxy with thousands of red dots marking human assets. They were everywhere. In every major star system, on every important trade route, inside every significant alien government. We have been watching the galaxy for so long that we know it better than the aliens who live in it, Karen said. Elena met with the expedition team leaders that evening. Commander Zexthara looked older than she had a week ago. The revelation about humanity had shaken all of them. My government wants to know if Earth intends to conquer the galaxy openly now, Commander Zexthara said. Admiral Davis shook his head. We have no interest in conquest. Managing the galaxy from the shadows has been difficult enough. Direct rule would be impossible. Dr. Veltar leaned forward. Then what do you want from us? Partnership, Admiral Davis replied. The new threat is unlike anything we have faced before. The unknown ships that have been attacking your colonies are adapting to our countermeasures faster than we can develop them. Chris Murphy brought up tactical displays showing the recent attacks. These ships use technology that changes during battle. When we fire energy weapons at them, they develop better shields. When we use kinetic weapons, they create better armor. They learn like humans do, Elena said. Yes, but faster, Chris replied. Much faster. We estimate they can adapt to new threats in hours rather than years. Lisa Park studied the attack patterns. Have you tried to capture one of their ships? Several times, Admiral Davis replied. The ships self-destruct when they are damaged. Beyond repair. We have recovered some debris, but not enough to understand their technology. Elena looked at the data with growing concern. If they adapt faster than you can, how do you fight them? We don't, Admiral Davis said. Not alone. That is why we are revealing ourselves to galactic civilization. We need allies who can provide different approaches to the problem. Dr. Uthara spoke for the first time since arriving at the human station. You want to use us as test subjects. Send us against these ships to see how they adapt, and develop countermeasures based on what you learn. Admiral Davis was quiet for a moment. That is one option, but not the one we prefer. He brought up a new display showing human and alien technologies side by side. Every species in the galaxy has unique capabilities. The Valerians excel at multi-dimensional thinking. The Christek can process information faster than any computer. The Aquatic Collective understands fluid dynamics better than anyone. Elena began to understand. You want to combine all galactic technologies into a unified defense system. Exactly, Chris Murphy said. Humans are good at adapting existing technology, but we are not the best at innovation. Other species create things we never would have thought of. Admiral Davis gestured to the star charts, showing the unknown ship attack patterns. These invaders are expecting to face the galaxy as it appears to be. Dozens of separate civilizations, with limited cooperation and primitive technology. They are not expecting to face humanity, Elena said. More importantly, they are not expecting to face a unified galactic civilization with access to human adaptive capabilities. Admiral Davis replied. Commander Zexthara's main arms gestured in what Elena recognized as a Valerian thinking posture. You are asking us to trust you, to work with the species that has been secretly controlling us for thousands of years. We are asking you to help us save the galaxy, Admiral Davis said simply. Elena looked around the room at the faces of beings from a dozen different worlds. Fear, anger, confusion, and calculation showed in their expressions. What guarantees do we have? Dr. Veltar asked. How do we know you will not eliminate us once this threat is dealt with? Admiral Davis stood and walked to the window overlooking Earth. Because the age of hidden control is ending whether we want it to or not. These new invaders will eventually discover our true nature. When they do, every species in the galaxy will become a target. He turned back to face the group. We can fight separately and probably lose, or we can work together and have a chance to win. Elena realized the choice was not just about the current crisis. It was about the future of galactic civilization. Continue living under human secret control, or become true partners in a unified galaxy. There is something else, Admiral Davis said. Something we have not told you yet. The room fell silent. The unknown ships are not exploring randomly. They are following the same star charts that led you to Earth. They know about the ancient weapon. They are looking for us. Elena felt cold. They know about humanity. Yes, which means they may be another species like us. Another civilization that has learned to adapt and dominate by studying their enemies. Chris Murphy brought up comparison charts showing human expansion patterns and the unknown ship movement patterns. They were remarkably similar. If we are right, Admiral Davis said, then the galaxy is about to witness a conflict between two species that have each learned to the ultimate predators. Elena looked at the data with growing dread. Humanity had shaped galactic civilization for thousands of years through careful control and overwhelming technological superiority. Now they might face an enemy with the same capabilities. The question, Admiral Davis continued, is whether the rest of the galaxy will help us fight them or try to stay neutral and hope they survive whatever happens. Commander Zexthara's 6 arms moved in complex patterns as she considered the options. Elena knew the Valerian was calculating probabilities, trying to determine the best path for her people. If we agree to this partnership, Commander Zexthara said finally, what changes? How does galactic civilization function when humanity is no longer hiding? Admiral Davis smiled. That is something we will have to figure out together. But first, we need to survive what is coming. Elena looked out at Earth, the secret capital of the galaxy. Soon, every being in known space would learn the truth about humanity. The question was whether that. The emergency session of the Galactic Council was unlike anything in recorded history. Representatives from over 200 worlds gathered in the Great Assembly Hall on Nexus Prime. But this time, human delegates sat among them for the first time as equals rather than junior members. Elena stood with Admiral Davis at the speaker's platform. Behind them, holographic displays showed the truth about galactic history, the real star charts, the hidden human bases, the secret interventions that had shaped 4,000 years of civilization. Chancellor Vorth of the Antarian Republic was the first to speak. His tall, insect-like form trembled with anger. You have manipulated us for millennia. How can we trust anything you say now? Admiral Davis remained calm. Because the alternative is extinction for all of us. The invaders destroyed 3 more colonies yesterday. They are adapting faster than our models predicted. Commander Zexthara stepped forward. She had spent weeks reviewing the evidence with her government. The Valerian Empire has decided to accept the human proposal. We will share our technology and coordinate our defenses. Murmurs rippled through the assembly. The Valerians were one of the most powerful civilizations in the galaxy. Their decision would influence many others. Dr. Euthara represented the Crystal Confederation. Her people had been debating for days. We have one question, she said. When this crisis is over, what happens to galactic civilization? Do humans return to hiding? Do you rule us openly? Or do we build something new? Elena spoke for the first time. We build something new. Humanity cannot go back to secret control. Too many people know the truth now. We must learn to work together as equals. President Kalau of the Oceanic Collective raised a tentacle. Your species has never worked as equals with anyone. You have always been the dominant power. That is true, Admiral Davis admitted, but dominance through secrecy is no longer possible. We need partners, not subjects. The debates continued for hours. Some species wanted guarantees that humanity would never again interfere in their development. Others wanted access to advanced human technology. A few demanded that humans be punished for their historical manipulations. Senator Grex of the Mining. World spoke from many of the smaller civilizations. How do we know you will not eliminate us when we are no longer useful? You have done it before. Elena looked at the historical files she had studied. Because the galaxy has changed, humanity has changed. We learn to adapt by observing other species. That observation taught us something important. She brought up images from dozens of worlds. Art, music, literature, philosophy from hundreds of different cultures. The galaxy is more interesting with diversity, more creative, more capable of solving complex problems. Admiral Davis nodded. A galaxy with one dominant species is a galaxy that stops growing. We realized that maintaining the balance was more valuable than achieving total control. The first breakthrough came from an unexpected source. Dr. Min Shun, a human engineer, had been working with alien scientists to analyze debris from the invader ships. She stood to address the assembly. "We have identified the invader technology," Dr. Chun announced. "It is based on quantum adaptation matrices. The ships can rewrite their own physical structure at the molecular level." Dr. Yethara's crystal form flashed with interest. "My people have theoretical models for such technology. We could never build it, but we understand the principles." Chris Murphy stood up from the human delegation. "What would happen if we combined Crystal Confederation quantum theory with human adaptive engineering? We might be able to create countermeasures that adapt faster than their ships," Dr. Yethara replied. For the first time since the crisis began, Elena felt hope. The combination of different species' strengths was already producing results that neither could achieve alone. The breakthrough accelerated cooperation. The Valerian Empire offered their multidimensional tactical analysis. The Aquatic Collective provided fluid dynamics models for space combat. The mining worlds contributed advanced metallurgy for ship construction. Within days, joint research teams were working around the clock. Human adaptive capabilities merged with alien innovation in ways that surprised everyone. Lisa Park worked with Valerian tactical officers to develop new combat strategies. She was amazed by their ability to think in multiple dimensions simultaneously. "You see patterns we miss completely," she told Commander Zexthara. "And we see adaptations you would never consider. That is exactly why this partnership could work," Commander Zexthara replied. "Our weaknesses complement your strengths." Ben Carter collaborated with linguistic experts from a dozen species to create new communication protocols. The team needed to coordinate fleets speaking hundreds of different languages during combat. "The translation matrices are incredible," Ben told Elena. "The Hive Mind Collective can process language patterns faster than our computers. Combined with human intuition about meaning, we can achieve near-perfect real-time translation." Sam Wright worked with navigators from across the galaxy to plot defensive positions. The combined knowledge of stellar cartography was vast. "The Wanderer clans know hyperspace routes that do not appear on any official charts," Sam reported. "Paths that could let us move fleets without the invaders detecting them." The first test of the new alliance came sooner than expected. Long-range sensors detected a massive invader fleet approaching the Meridian sector. Over 1,000 ships, larger than any previous attack. Admiral Davis coordinated the defense from a joint command center. Representatives from 20 species worked together to deploy their combined fleets. Valerian ships will use multidimensional tactics to confuse their targeting systems, Admiral Davis announced. Crystal ships will provide computational support for adaptive countermeasures. Human ships will serve as the primary combat force. Elena watched from the command center as the battle began. The invader ships were indeed adapting to every tactic used against them. But for the first time, the defenders were adapting faster. When the invaders developed better shields, Crystal Confederation computers immediately calculated new weapon frequencies. When they improved their armor, Valerian tacticians shifted to multidimensional attack patterns they could not counter. The human ships, equipped with technology from a dozen species, proved capable of adaptations the invaders could not match. They combined the best innovations from across the galaxy into systems that changed faster than the enemy could analyze. The battle lasted 18 hours. When it ended, the invader fleet was destroyed. For the first time since the crisis began, not a single defender ship was lost. The victory celebration was broadcast across the galaxy. Elana stood with Admiral Davis and the other leaders as they addressed the combined civilizations. Today proved that cooperation is stronger than domination, Elena said. The galaxy united is more powerful than any single species, no matter how advanced. Admiral Davis looked out at the assembly of species that had been enemies and rivals for thousands of years. The age of secret control is over. The age of open partnership has begun. But the celebration was brief. Intelligence reports showed that the destroyed fleet was only the advance guard. The main invader force was still approaching from outside the galaxy. Millions of ships with technology that continued to evolve. How long do we have? Commander, Sixthara asked. 6 months, replied Karen White, who had been monitoring long-range communications, maybe less. Elena looked at the tactical displays, showing the size of the approaching threat. It was larger than all galactic fleets combined. Even with their new alliance, the odds seemed impossible. We need more than military cooperation, she realized. We need to become something new, a true galactic civilization. Admiral Davis nodded. The Terra Accords. A formal treaty that creates a unified galactic government with representatives from every species. The negotiations took weeks. Every world wanted guarantees for their people's rights and freedoms. But slowly, the framework emerged for something that had never existed. A galactic democracy where humans were partners rather than hidden rulers. Elena stood in the same assembly hall where the crisis had begun, watching representatives sign the historic document. Species that had been isolated for millennia were now part of a unified civilization. The galaxy will never be the same, Elena said to Admiral Davis. No, he replied, watching as human children played with alien youngsters in the observation areas. It will be better. Jake Morrison commanded the Aurora as part of the new Galactic Defense Fleet. His crew now included beings from 6 different worlds, each contributing their unique skills to the ship's mission. Captain, Sam Wright, called from the navigation station. We are receiving the final fleet assembly coordinates. Jake looked at the tactical display showing thousands of ships from hundreds of worlds moving into formation. The largest military force in galactic history, unified for the first time under a single command. All ships, this is Admiral Davis, came the voice over the communication system. The main invader fleet will arrive in 48 hours. We are ready. Elena stood on the observation deck of the flagship, looking out at Earth. The blue planet that had secretly ruled the galaxy was now just one world among many in a vast. Alliance. The invaders would find a galaxy very different from what they expected. Not dozens of separate, primitive civilizations, but a